the Ukrainian counteroffensive seems to be going more slowly and has many more difficulties than people might have anticipated. Can you tell us from your perspective why you think these difficulties are, why do you face these difficulties, and what do you need to try to overcome them?
Thank you for the question. Really a very relevant one. I would just like to draw your attention to the change of rhetorics worldwide, and I'm glad to hear that. Now we're discussing the counteroffensive in Ukraine. Ukraine is not backtracking, but progressively liberates its territories, which is very important. We did have plans to start it in spring, but we didn't because, frankly, we had not enough munitions and armaments and not enough brigades properly trained in these weapons. Still more that the training missions were held outside Ukraine, but still we started, and this is important. And because we started it a bit later on, it can be said, and it will be shared truth, understood by all the experts, that it provided Russia with time to mine all our lands and build several lines of defense. And definitely they had even more time than they needed. Because of that, they built more of those lines. And really, they had a lot of mines in our fields. Because of that, a slower pace of our counteroffensive actions. We didn't want to lose our people, our personnel, and our servicemen didn't want to lose equipment because of that. Yes, I do understand that it's always better to see if victory comes sooner. This is what we also want. But the question is the price of this of this victory. So let us not throw people under tanks literally. Let us plan our counteroffensive as our analysts, our intelligence suggests, and some of our residential areas have been liberated already, so I do believe in our victory.
Is there a change in Russian morale? Are you noticing something about the Russian army as a consequence of the Prigozhin attempted mutiny?
I think we can understand what is happening to the strength of the Russian army, or rather the lack of motivation, when we see what is happening to the Russian society. And something like that has been happening on the battlefield. They're demotivated. You could see that Putin lost the strength of the vertical of his power. And the steps made by Prigozhin clearly attest to that. Same is happening in the army. In Russia, with their citizens, they don't have freedom. And because of that, they are demotivated to the most. They don't see victories in civil life, in military activities, and even those who support this policy of war and aggression of President Putin. I think this percentage is going down. We did analyze the steps by Prigozhin. We talked about that with partners. And I would say that 40, maybe 45% of Russian Federation's regions in principle supported the steps and the rhetoric of Prigozhin. In spite of him being a representative of terrorists, or even the leader of terrorists himself, you can still see that even in that there is a split in the society. There is no unity in Russia now. And this is why we need to act